who can still help you compete. Now, speaking of another player that was kind of shafted when it came out here into free agency this year, we're talking about Isaiah Thomas. Now, while in Boston, we believe that he could be potentially a max type of player. We literally made videos and we talked about, is Isaiah Thomas worth the max? So we're talking about $200+ million for Isaiah Thomas. We didn't know if he was because of size, defensive liabilities, but what he brought offensively to the Boston Celtics, we were actually truly debating whether or not he should make that money or not. But regardless, he was going to make well over $100 million regardless. Now, we've seen his stock drop remarkably in one season. He went to Cleveland. He was injured, of course. He came back. He played right before the trade deadline. Didn't play good. He kept running his mouth. He kept acting like it's him and LeBron James' team when we all knew that was LeBron's team. It wasn't his. But he kept talking as if it was still Boston. This was still his team. So you could tell wasn't really liked too much in that locker room there. He wore out his welcome with the Cavaliers organization. They shipped him out the trade deadline. He went to L.A. Now, in L.A., we've seen a productive Isaiah Thomas. He was liked in the locker room. He really didn't cause too many waves while being in L.A., and he had some pretty impressive performances. Of course, didn't play a whole lot in L.A., but the market just simply was not there. He ended up signing a minimum deal to go play in Denver, and you know in Denver, he's more than likely going to be the sixth man for the Denver Nuggets. So it's a huge drop in terms of stock in just one season. Probably one of the craziest drops we've seen in recent memories is how far somebody could go from being an MVP candidate to coming off the bench for a team that's fighting to just make the playoffs. So a pretty big stop. But what we're hearing right now is Isaiah Thomas, he reached out to Danny Ainge and the Boston Celtics right before he signed with the Boston Celtics. And he said it was a 15-minute conversation with him and Ainge. He said, if the opportunity is there, I would just like to let you know that I'd love to come back. So conversation didn't get too much in depth, but the fact that he picked up the phone and called the same guy who traded him after everything he did for that organization and for that team, it shows kind of where Isaiah Thomas was. And this was literally the night before he signed with the Denver Nuggets. So that night they talked. Danny Ainge said, we're going to see what happens with Marcus Smart before we bring you back, which also implies if they're bringing him back, he was going to be coming off the bench even in Boston, which I don't see him doing, but we did make a video about him being open to returning to Boston, and this is just proving that what we said and those rumors were in fact true. He was open to going back to Boston. Ultimately, he ended up with the Denver Nuggets. I think for whatever reason, things didn't work out with him in contract talks with Orlando. I think ultimately the Orlando Magic were the best option for Isaiah Thomas. I think he would have had his team. He would have had the opportunity and the freedom to go out and be that same scorer that you were in the past and show people that you're still Isaiah Thomas. But instead, now you got to show people that you're willing to accept a lesser role. You have to show people that you're willing to still come in, still be that guy, just with less opportunity. So you have to be efficient with those minutes. I think those minutes are clearly, they're going to be there for you in Denver. You're going to get minutes. You're going to get the opportunity to still shine and the opportunity to still show that you're that same Isaiah Thomas that deserves to get paid. It is a one-year deal, but it was interesting to see that he did reach out to Boston. Boston wasn't really, they were accepting of it, but they weren't really going after it. Marcus Smart was their guy that they wanted to keep over Isaiah Thomas. So it was interesting that fact happened, but it's just crazy how quickly, stock could go. And this is why I'm always going to be on the side of players when it comes to you doing what's best for you, because at the end of the day, it's rough. You see what happened with DeMar DeRozan. You see what happened with Isaiah Thomas. It's a business from a lot of the owners and general managers' perspectives. And if you can't perform, they wouldn't let you go. They're going to trade you. Going to do something to that type. Isaiah Thomas, even for the Lakers, he was like the 5th or 6th option. If they couldn't sign anybody at all, they were just going to give Isaiah Thomas a one-year deal. But he is going to the Denver Nuggets. I wish him the best of luck. I think he can succeed there. If he has a good year, hopefully Isaiah Thomas bounces back in the summer of 2019. But that is everything that we have for today's episode.